What's up? Good afternoon. What's up, Joe?
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Another day, another day.
Yeah. Another day. I'm great though. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Can't complain, just grinding. Just grinding. I've been just blessed to be busy during this season. It's
Yeah.
one of those things there's a rapper, I forgot his name. Oh, Jada, he used to say, I'm just happy to be here.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah. But enough about me. I want to talk about you and your book and what you got going on and share you with whoever I can share you with. Is that cool?
Oh, well, I appreciate you for extending your platform to me. It means
Yeah.
a lot as someone that's trying to get, my face and name and all of that out there. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. And I know, from publishing a book myself, I know that every bit helps. I know that every
Yeah.
bit. So let's just start off here. Let's just, if you can, in 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 2 minutes, however long you feel, let's just talk about who you are. Tell everybody who you are and how you got to where you are today.
Okay, yes. So, hello everyone. My name is Joe. I am a native of the Bronx, New York.
Okay.
Specifically, I'm from Soundview. So, we have that BX connection. Yeah, I'm from the Soundview Bronx, first generation American. My family is from a small island in the Caribbean called Montserrat. And they migrated here in the 70s, and they got to the Bronx, and that's where they've been ever since. So that's how I actually got here. But I'm an educator by trade. I've been in the education field for coming up to my ninth year now. I taught in all elementary grades for about 6 years, and now I'm actually a math coach at an elementary school. So I work with the teachers and I work with the other administration to make sure that any and everything that has to deal with math is being taken care of, so that our kids are learning, the teachers are improving, and our scores reflect that. So I do that, and I'm also an adjunct professor of elementary education. I actually got my master's in elementary education, so it was just a natural thing for me to be able to transition what I do in my day job, and then being able to be an adjunct on the side, and then still teaching education. So I just education is my thing, it's my jam. I'm really dedicated to the lives of Black children and making sure that they can succeed educationally, because in this world, it's just how it is, right? We just get taken a little more serious when you have education behind you. And
Wonderful.
I just want to make sure kids that look like me get great opportunities, and it's great that I can still be in my community doing that. So that's me on the professional side. Personally, well, Journey with Joe is actually, for the last 4 years, it's been a travel blog. I extensively only talked about traveling and all the countries that I've been to and how I'm able to do that. I pride myself on being a solo traveler. So I've been to over 40 countries. I would say about 85% of that I've been by myself, just, doing what I have to do,
Yeah.
meeting people and just hopping on a plane and figuring things out when I get there. And now I'm transitioning into adding author to my resume.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I started writing Jada's Diary, which is my book that was just released today for pre-order. I started writing it last year. I think it was around this time last year, like July 2019. I was just like going through a lot. Oh my God, I was going through hell on earth. And it was just one of those things, like, I've always said I wanted to write a book. This is the time. So I called one of my friends, Kalina. She's a professional writer. That's her job. She quit her day job to become a writer. And I called her and I said, I want to write a book. Can you just help me? Like, what do I need to figure out? What do I need to get out on paper? And she helped me, and ever since then, I've been writing, and I'm so proud of myself. I finished the manuscript towards the end of May that just passed, and now today here we are, pre-order for my first of many, hopefully,
It,
books.
it will be.
So
It will be.
yeah.
Well, you. I got so many questions, and I'm gonna ask anybody that on the chat if you have any questions, just make sure you throw it in there, and I'll ask. But let's back up. You hit the Bronx. You hit education. What high school did you go to in the Bronx?
High school?
Yeah.
I went
What
to
high?
Truman
Okay, Truman.
in Co-op City.
Okay, because I went to DeWitt Clinton.
Oh, okay. My
So,
cousin was Clinton, actually.
oh, year.
Oh, goodness. I don't know. I think he's like 42.
Yeah.
So I don't know what year that is that makes you 42 to be in high school.
Or maybe we might have been in high school around the same time. I don't know.
Maybe.
Could have been a freshman. What would you say the education system was like at Truman when you were there?
Um, it was different. So Truman, actually, when I got there previously, my education pre-K to 8, actually I went to a Catholic school, maybe like 5 blocks away from where I grew up here in Soundview. So going to Truman was actually my first time in public school here in New York, and stark difference from what I experienced over here with the Catholic school. So I mean, Truman, the first thing that when you come in, you going through metal detectors, you taking off your belt, you taking off, they trying to make sure you're not bringing your cell phone in and wanding you and all of that.
Yeah.
But honestly, like looking back now, like it was a great high school experience, but I definitely wasn't pushed academically. School came very easy to me. Like I was always one of those kids who, it didn't take a lot for me to pick up things.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that until I got to college. When I got to college, I'm like, oh shoot, I don't know how to study. Oh shoot, like I don't know, like proper test taking skills and all of that, because I was playing in high
Yeah.
school.
I was too.
I'm not gonna lie, I was playing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, would you say the teachers were they motivational? Did you feel motivated by the teachers to?
I could definitely say like a few teachers that I could think back on were motivational, but I mean also, and I could speak, I remember specifically having a few teachers that were in the Teach for America program. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but it's a program that basically like you can be fresh out of college and you want to teach. You go into the program, you don't really have much experience, and you're just like a novice teacher. And I remember specifically having a few teachers telling us they were from this program, and you can't tell no kids like us, like, you brand new, you don't know what you're doing. Like, it was a mess for some of those classes. But I know specifically like one of my teachers, is crazy. We're Instagram friends right now, but she was my dance teacher and I was a part of her program, and that was something that really helped me, and like to see what it means to take school serious. And I use that as a way to get stuff on my resume so my college application looked good. She definitely was a very influential person to me in high school, for sure.
Okay, and I'm gonna ask you a question in a second, but I just want to update everybody. So we're on live with Joe. She is an amazing woman. She's a teacher in the Bronx. For all those listening, I grew up in the Bronx, so she's a teacher in the Bronx. My mother was a teacher in the South Bronx, and so I have an affinity for teachers. And Joe has just come out with her book is on pre-order. It's just come out on pre-order right now. We're going to get more deeper into her book a little bit later, but I just wanted to kind of give those update who just jumped in. Did you think that your experience in school informed you, or was the catalyst or inspiration for you wanting to be a teacher?
It was after I got into the profession, definitely not before. When I went to college, actually, I went to college for mass communication. So radio and TV broadcast was my focus. And I actually went to school in South Carolina, Claflin University, the oldest HBCU in South Carolina. And when I went, I said, I'm coming back to New York to sit next to Angie Martinez. That was my only goal. I wanted to come back and work on Hot 97. And
97.
then, you know, getting into junior year, and our
Yeah.
professors are like, listen, you know, a lot of you gonna have to start as interns. It's not just you graduate and then you're on the radio. So when I heard that, I was like, I cannot go home without a job. Like, to me, you know, I was always preached, you go to college to get a job, to get paid, right? So intern, that wasn't even registering. So I ended up, the program that I told you about, Teach for America, that's actually the program that I joined so that I could become a teacher without having to study it in college. But it wasn't until I actually stepped foot in the classroom that I realized like the weight of what I was doing, and you know how impactful this profession is on the kids. I mean, I'm in the classroom 8 hours a day with the same children. Like, that's powerful. The things that come out of my mouth, the things that I do, you know, are things that shape them. You know, I remember some things that some of my teachers told me when I was 6, 7, 8 years old. You know, certain things just stay with you. So once I started realizing that, I'm like, okay, you know, I have to take this serious. This is a serious job. And I didn't think I would still be, you know, in a school now, but definitely when I think back on my experiences of, you know, sitting as a student, that you know, that I think about that all the time when I'm in the classroom with these babies, because this is the same. It's like me, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy you bring that up, because when I was when I was in high school, I had a math teacher, and I never forget it. He used to, and it used to scare me to death. He used to come in the classroom and say, "Oh, y'all don't want to study for your tests? Y'all don't want to do your homework? Okay." And then he would start pointing at people. He said, "You gonna be the garbage man. You gonna be wiping the table at McDonald's. You gonna be working at Wendy." He would literally point people, and not knocking anyone at that job right now, but he would literally say that, and it scared me to death. I was just, nope, that's not going to be me. And so, you know, what you said is so true. The things that teachers say to us, it sticks with us. And there may when from a teacher's perspective, it may not seem like they're having an impression, but deep down inside they are, just as your teachers had an impression on you. And I guarantee you, there are so many students that you are teaching in the Bronx. Got to shout that out for those that just jumped in. Joe is a teacher in the Bronx. There's so many kids that you are teaching. I'm sure, you know, a word of wisdom or a word of encouragement or a word, whatever, you know, you feel led to say, that can be something that will stick with them for the rest of their life and be transformative, be motivational. So, you know, again, that's, you're spot on with that. So we're going to get to the book. Remember, everybody, Joe's book is on pre-sale right now. Joe, if you can, drop your handle in there, and I'm gonna try. Somebody told me to pin it to the top.
Like my Instagram name.
Yeah, I know I saw one comment. Somebody already said they're gonna pre-order a bunch of your books for their. Let me see if I can pin that to the top. Can I pin that? Yeah, pin comment. You know, somebody said they're gonna pre-order a bunch of your books for their school, and then I know Michelle, you on here. So Michelle, Sean Perez needs to get Joe on his podcast. So I just want to plug that, Michelle. So you see Joe's handle right there. Get her on Sean Perez podcast. I was on his podcast. He's a New Yorker. He used to work with P. Diddy, and he's had he has a bunch of big hip hop heads on his podcast, and it's an amazing podcast. I think that it would be beneficial for you to go on there. So let's jump back in. So how has traveling the world inform you? Because I know for me, I've been all over the world. I was born in Africa, in the military. I've been all over Europe. I've been all over the Middle East. I've been in Southeast Asia. I've been to South America, and all the places that I've traveled to has helped expand my thinking. You know, it's given me, it's allowed me to see things from different perspectives. And, you know, even though we have a lot of issues in this country, it's allowed me to appreciate the good that America has to offer. You know my story. We left Nigeria because the Nigerian government.
Yeah.
My dad left Europe, where he was amassing a lot of wealth in the West, and he left Great Britain to go back to Nigeria with a lot of wealth to blow it up, and then all of that was taken from him. So I
Right.
said, hey, you know, being here, I appreciate it more, and traveling the world again. I appreciate I appreciate traveling because it's just informed me in so many other areas that, you know, not traveling, sitting in a classroom alone is not enough to do so.
Right.
Um, how has traveling affected you as a person? How has it expanded your mind? How has it expanded the way you teach your students and look at situations?
Wow. Traveled. I say it truly changed my life. It saved my life. It, just like you said, like it opens up your eyes to a different way of thinking and seeing how people live. So, what really like the pivotal moment for me with travel, I was blessed enough my senior year of college to study abroad.
Yeah.
So I lived in Costa Rica for almost 5 months.
Oh,
I
wow.
lived with a family. I lived with a mom and her daughter, and it was beautiful because the mother knew no English and I knew no Spanish.
Yeah.
And it was like a perfect marriage because at the end, we found a good way to communicate. But the reason why I bring that up is because I remember specifically when I was in that program of about, I would say maybe 50 students, there were only maybe like 5 of us who were Black, right? And when I did it, and I was just like, wow, all I could think about were my friends who were back at college, who were, going through the same routine. And I'm just like, wow, I really wish that they could be here, that they could have these experiences and they could do these things. So I vowed to myself that when I was able to get a real job and make some money, that
Yeah.
I wanted to make travel such a part of my life, because being away for those, almost 5 months, it transformed me. And
Yeah.
I'm so blessed and grateful that I was able to do that at such a young age, because me being able to do that by myself, like knowing no people, living with a family, that's really what gave me the confidence to say, all right, like I told you in the beginning, like I travel mostly by myself almost
Yeah.
everywhere I go.
Yeah.
So
Are you on Instagram? I see all them pictures. You in Africa, you were
yeah.
in Europe, you get one.
Yeah.
And the cool thing
So
about people from the Bronx get to the places that you've been able to get to. Like I know as a kid, for me, I never thought I would leave the Bronx. I thought that the Bronx,
right.
the world, right? So, you know, the fact that you're doing that is amazing. Sorry for cutting you off.
No. You're fine. I mean, and that's the type of stuff I think about. So I know you said like, how do I bring it into the classroom? Like, when I was in the classroom full time, and the biggest thing that I always say, and I remind teachers, kids are not going to care about you until they know you care about them. And the first thing that you need to do is build a relationship. They need to know who you are, where you come from, what are the things you like, and then you need to give them the opportunity to do that as well. But the reason why I bring that up is because, from day one, I tell my kids, like, they know, I tell them when it's Christmas break, Miss KB, this is where she's going this year. And I'm going to bring back some pictures, and I let them know where I'm going and the things that I learn. And, I bring it back into the classroom because I do want to inspire. Like you said, like, you never thought that you would leave the Bronx, right? And that's a reality for some of, the people that we grow up around, really don't have opportunities beyond their borough, beyond
Yeah.
their state, beyond, the tri-state. So one of the things I really wanted to make sure, I put out with this blog is that I'm just like you, It
Yeah.
doesn't look like it because social media could fool you. And this is
Yeah.
part of the reason why I wrote the book, is because, this is what you see, but baby, it
Yeah.
ain't all that,
Yeah.
we can make,
That's everybody.
we curate. That's what we do. We're
Yeah.
curators. So, yeah, I bring that to the kids, and travel, it really has, just open up my eyes. I've met so many people across the world. Like, I still communicate with people that I met 4 years ago in Europe, and, I met a diplomat from Morocco. We keep in touch via email. Just like the list goes on. I think about how many connections I was able to make, one from traveling, but also, being independent enough to strike up conversations with a stranger at a bar, or, walk up to people on the beach and ask them, you know, where should I go for dinner? You know, things like that. Human connection is real, and I love it. And it has also like really made me just like a little more keen to like humanity is still there. There are still kind people in this world, and I actually find that a little bit more realer when I leave the States more than when I'm here in New York. Because you know how New Yorkers are. You know, we fast, we on the go, we got to get to work. We not saying good morning. And, you know, I go to other places and it's just not like that. So it's, definitely life-changing.
As soon as I land in New York, I already know nobody's going to look you in the eye when they talk.
That's right.
Happy, they gonna, what you want? Get out my face. And you New Yorkers, normal, you know. It's just
it's true.
Doing it, but it's like because I live in California, Southern California, so it's a complete difference going from the SoCal where everybody's smiling, everybody happy, landing in New York. It's like everybody's mad at their job. Like, why are you working here if you that bad?
Oh my goodness, I know. Why are we like this?
Yeah. If you guys are just joining me again, I'm on the horn with Joe. She's dropped an amazing book that's on pre-order now. Go down to her handle is right at the bottom, pinned at the top. So check out her book, pre-order her book. Pre-orders are important for the book industry, and you know what? Pre-order because this is an amazing story and it's going to bless you. And she's a teacher. For all those who know me, you know that I'm a huge proponent for teachers and education. And not only is she a teacher, but she is a teacher in the Bronx. She's in the trenches. She's helping kids with limited resources. And she's helping inspire kids to achieve greatness. And she does it in so many ways, not just in teaching, but in traveling and bringing back to her classroom what she's learning from all around the world. If you go to Joe's Instagram page, you will see that she's been all over the world, and she's from the Bronx. So, so let's jump into the book. Like, why did you feel the need to write the book? So now I was having an interview earlier today, and I was telling this guy, I was like, there's a lot of people who have good ideas, but they don't have a deep-rooted emotional reason as to why they want to do certain things. And because they don't have an emotional reason as to why they want to do certain things, as soon as they face adversity, they fall apart or they quit. As soon as they don't get the book deal, or as soon as, they don't get good opportunities, or they're acting and everybody's, telling them no, or whatever it is they're doing, they quit because they didn't have a deep-rooted emotional reason as to why they wanted to do it. But me knowing you, I know that you have a deep-rooted emotional reason as to why you wanted to write this book. So share with everybody, that reason.
So super transparent moment. Like when I decided I wanted to write this book, I just got out of a bad relationship.
Yeah.
I was engaged. We broke up. I was depressed. I was calling my friend crying every day, like, girl, I can't do it anymore.
I've been there too. I'm a seal, and I've been there crying over somebody too. So hey, you ain't got to do that.
Listen, I was going through it. But I've sat on the idea of writing a book for years. And my friends that are closest to me, and I don't even say my friends, like my sisters who are closest to me, they know, the things that Instagram doesn't see. They know the things that never make it to social media. And they're just like, Joe, you're always sharing the great things that you're doing. And it's good. It's great to inspire. It's great. And I love, I get messages from people I've never met that say, hey, I read your blog and now I'm going here. Or, hey, I saw your post on this. That's really what started it. I started this book out of depression. I was depressed. I was in a space where I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to do anything. And ironically, I say ironically because that doesn't sound like a space that you would be in to start a project, but that's really what fueled me to get my laptop out, start writing. I called my friend. I asked her to help me do an outline. And here we are, almost a year later, and I'm done.
It's two things you said that I want to hit on. One thing is, I have this post that I haven't posted. I've just been trying to figure out the right way to articulate it, not
Mm-hmm.
just in words, but also in imagery. But it's something along the lines of social media is used in one or two ways. It's used to either edify self through likes, comments, follows, etc. We know what type of pictures and videos are posted in order to edify self, or
Yep.
it's used to edify others through education, inspiration, motivation, or transformation. Right. So
Yeah.
like go to you can go to every social media page and you're going to see those two genres, so to speak, and or you can go to
Right.
some and you're going to immediately know what genre they're going to fall in. Either they fall into the genre of edifying self, look at me, like me, comment on this, blah, blah, or they're going to fall in the genre of here's this information. I want to help you. I want to educate you. I want to motivate you type thing. So, I know on your page, you're all about educating others and sharing with others for the purpose of inspiration. And then,
Mm-hmm.
and because of that, I know that in your book is going to be a whole lot of that. So again, everybody go pre-order Joe's book. The second thing that you touched on, I lost track of it. It was something you said towards the end. Ah, see, when I go on a tangent too long, it'll come
It's
back.
okay.
Come back to me. But oh, the pain that you
Yeah.
felt that led you to write the book. You know, some of the greatest artwork that I've created, whether, writing or whatever I'm doing, has come out of pain and anguish. As you know, there's a chapter in my book that's called "Out of the Chaos Comes Beauty" or something like that. There's beauty always
Yeah.
come out. So, and the most beautiful art comes out of chaos, comes out of pain. And because you were vulnerable, but the key to that is being vulnerable, which I know you are, because you are vulnerable, that pain is going to be transposed into inspiration and motivation to help others. So, I'm gonna get ready to wrap this up with this last 2 to 3 questions. Um, what do you want people to get out of the book?
What do I want people to get out of the book? Foremost one, I know I said it already, but just to know that, we're all human. We all have stuff that we go through,
Mhm.
and you know, it may not be reflected. We don't see it, but like just to bring that humanity back again, I think about social media a lot, and I also think because I have a niece who's just turned 10 and she's starting to get into the phone, and I really don't want people to think everything that you see is just at face value. So
Yeah,
that's one of the things that I want to get out. The story is fiction, but heavily based on my life experiences and the things that I went through growing up in the Bronx, growing up, living in different states and all of that. I
yeah,
really want people, a big thing that I'm pushing for with this book is mental health and making sure your mental health is in order because, I think about, and it's in the book, a lot of things that I swept under the rug over the years just because, I'm a strong Black woman, right? I know that. I hear that. It's preached to me. It's told to me, like, you better be strong. Stop
yeah.
crying. And, I know in our culture we do that a lot. It is very detrimental,
It is.
and we need to take care of ourselves in a way that's not just putting on a mask and going out the door and saying things are going to be okay. Like, it actually takes work, and I didn't know that it took work until I was in a place where I was thinking some really dark thoughts. So I really want people to get out of this also is to make sure to take your mental health seriously. Yes, we are strong, especially as women, we take on a lot, but it's okay to talk to someone who is licensed to get help, to help get you through certain situations. So I want people to get that out of the book, and just also, I want it to be a good read. I remember when I was young and I read, like these fiction novels that I had no business reading, but I read them and I enjoyed them. It's just like a story. Like, this is a story. It's great. It follows a journey. It has some dark stuff. It has some happy times. But I want people to just feel like, you know, Journey with Joe, that's who I am. I want them to feel like they're on a journey when they're reading this book. So that's the last thing I would say I want people to take away. Just like say like, wow, you know what? This is a good read.
Awesome.
And I want them to want more because I'm starting to write book 2 already.
Okay. You already see the dollars coming in. It's already like, hey, I got to set up this franchise. But you know what? Always be forward thinking. You always have to. And the last thing you want is to be in a situation where there's an opportunity and you don't have anything left. You know, you always want to, you know, I was telling the guy earlier, I was talking to be preparing peacetime so that you're ready for war. The more content that you have prepared, when the opportunity comes your way, you're going to be ready for it versus being exposed and not having. So good on you for doing that. My second question is, I'm a writer. That's my passion. I wrote my book. I'm writing films and TV shows now, and like writing is like my crack cocaine. What if there was one, two, three lessons that you learned in the writing process that you wish you had known before you started? What are those lessons, and you know, what would you tell a writer that's writing their first book or writing whatever?
That's a great question. And, you know, I don't know if you remember, but when I met you, you gave me some gems as well. So I'll talk about that. But I definitely, you have to plan to write. You know, like I know those days where I was so proud of myself for getting, you know, 1,000 words on the paper were days that I actually wrote down, okay, after work, you're going to write, or during your lunch break, you're going to write. So definitely like scheduling it out. And then also coming up with an outline beforehand. I think about the times that I've always thought I wanted to write a book and like maybe started scribbling stuff down, but I had really no direction because I never did that outline before. And again, shout out to my friend Kalina, Creative Scribes. She was the one that said, you need an outline before you start writing, you know, like you want to know where it's going to start, where it's going to end, and what are all those things going to be in between. So definitely I would say that, like a schedule, coming up with an outline, and, you know, like being okay with it not being perfect the first time, you know, like after I got through and finished that manuscript in May, it took me a good 2 weeks to go back and then comb through everything that I wrote, you know, from almost a year ago. And I'm like, Dad, Joe, you wrote that? That didn't even make sense, right? But if I would have stopped every time in the middle of my writing process to correct that, I would still be writing till this day, you know? So, you know, just let it out, and then you go back and you fix it up, and then, you know, you get your editor to fix it up real nice.
Tighten stuff that you're going to miss, because you're going to always miss something. I know for me, I book a bunch of times, and you always find a typo. It's just like, I read that like 5 times. Why is that typo still there? So,
it's crazy.
Okay, my last question. Where can everybody find you? And this will be, you know, your minute and a half or so to just pitch. You know what? One thing I try to tell people all the time, especially when you have a product, is people don't buy products. You know, that's something I've learned in business as well. People don't buy products. People buy people. You know, people buy into our lives. Your book is a part of who you are, but, you know, we have to, everybody, especially in business, myself included, we have to do a better job at not just selling a product, but connecting with the person who's going to receive that product. So what I want to do is, you know, last minute and a half, let everybody know where they can find you. We'll probably do that afterwards at the end. But, you know, floor is yours to just tell them about your life that's in this book, and, you know.
Okay, so yeah, this book, I mean, this is my first book. This is my baby. This is the first time that I'm being just open, you know, open and transparent. I think back, you know, another motivation that I get so many messages from people like, oh my gosh, your life looks so amazing, or I want to be like you, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. And it's like, it looks good. That's not, you know, that's not all that there is to it. So if more than anything, like when I think about this book and what I want what I want people to get out of it, but also why I want people to purchase it, is because I really want to stress that idea that we're all humans and we all have stuff and things that got us to this point, right? Like, I live a blessed life. I really do. You know, I have a great job. I have a great career. I have great people around me. You know, my health is great. But it took a lot of stuff to get to this point. And even though I'm here, I'm still not at the pinnacle, right? Like, I still get up in the morning sometimes and cry, you know,
Yeah.
like I get up in the morning and I'm sad some days that I wish, you know, things went a different way and then they didn't. But at the end of the day, this is my life and I'm responsible for it. You know, another big platform that I also want to use for this, I'm a member of the Speakers Bureau of RAIN. RAIN is the largest national anti-sexual abuse organization. Unfortunately, I was a victim of sexual abuse as a child and as an adult. And when I was able to move back to New York in 2015, I joined this organization, and I've spoken on panels, I've spoken at group homes, I've spoken at a lot of different places where people were able to hear my story in that aspect. But I want to use that as a platform because I know, you know, just for everything now that's happening in social media, that's starting to get heightened again. And, you know, there was a beautiful Black queen who was just murdered a few weeks ago, and she was a victim of sexual abuse and rape, and she tweeted about it and everything. And it's like, she still ended up losing her life.
Yeah.
And it hit me so hard because I'm like, you know, that could have been me. Yep. You know, that really could have been me or anybody else. And the reason why I go back to social media, because again, like, people cry out every day on social media, and, you know, we always send that praying for you, or, you know, we send our little prayer hands or whatever, but it is really more to it than that. And I think for me, I don't know what anybody else to do, but for me, if I'm able to use my voice to amplify people like that, or to amplify, you know, the stigma of what we think somebody that goes through rape, or what we think somebody that goes through, you know, being manipulated by a man, or somebody that, you know, goes through all these things looks like, baby, I'm here to tell you it's no look to that, because I know nobody would think that from looking on my feed, right? Because I don't share that. I don't open up to that. But, you know, we're all human. We all go through things. And I just want people to know that. Like, I'm blessed that I'm in a mental space that I can even talk about it, you know? Because I can't say that I would be able to do that 2 years ago or 5 years ago. But now I am. And I'm going to use my voice to help people, to help kids, to help teenagers, children, even adults who's going through issues like this. That's really and truly where I want to go next, really and truly. So I hope God orders my steps to make that happen.
Amen. And you're going to continue to be blessed, because blessed are the peacemakers. You know, when we seek to go bless people, we get blessed double. This is just the way it happens. So you're going to be. Thank you for, I know this is random. I've never hosted a live thing ever in my life. Like, asked me to come on and I jump in. I've never did it. But, you know, I saw.
Thank you.
I saw this morning. I was like, yo, she supported me. Like, I want to support her book. I want to support her and celebrate her for the awesome woman that she is and for this awesome story that she tells. So we're going to try and do this again later and see how, at another point, see how it all works out, maybe closer to your release date. If there's anything to do for you, I got you covered. Yard Tony, I'm going to hold you to that, Yard Tony. You better get them books for that school like I saw you put. Asked about where they can get their book. Joe's handles right there.
Yes.
So go to her
page. You can get it there.
And I'm sure she could get you a signed book. She can figure out how to get you a signed book. And
absolutely.
Yeah. Joe, tell everybody where you can find you before we sign off.
Absolutely. So yes, my Instagram is pinned there at the bottom, journeywithjoe_. You can find me on my website, which is journeywithjoe.com. There on the website, you can pre-order. And yes, Remi, if you pre-order, you will get a signed copy as well as a small token of my appreciation. I'm also on Facebook, Journey with Joe, and I'm going to get into Twitter world, as we talked about earlier. I have a Twitter, but I haven't been using it. So if anybody wants to school me on it, Twitter is the same, Journey with Joe _.
I was going to say, you can just link your Twitter to your Instagram, so every time you post on Instagram, it automatically posts on Twitter for you.
I need to do that. I feel like I started that at one point, but I just couldn't keep up. But I'm going to get on Twitter. I'm going to get on there. But yeah, you can reach me all on there. Oh, thank you for posting that link, Kamara. Yeah, that's where you can find my book. And thank you so much for letting me come on here on your live. I really appreciate it. I know when I first started writing this book, I saw your ad. It came up. I'll never forget. It was sponsored, and then I saw Bronx, and I'm like, oh, he's from the Bronx. I gotta get his book.
Yeah.
And since then, I've been hooked. You know, I bought the paper. I bought the hardcover. I've got the Audible. Your story is inspirational as well. So thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. And I'm going to be pre-ordering your book in about 5 minutes too. So you can add that to the count.
Yay! Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Yes, man. All right, Joe. Well, you have a blessed weekend. God bless you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.